I made the mistake of reaching out and leaning on my friends. And as much as they cared, they just got tired. They couldn't carry the weight. It was too much to carry. Um, and I really wore my relationships thin by my level of need because I needed so much. I was bleeding out my eyeballs at that point. And to go to a support group where everyone has that same level of need, it felt really good. One, because it normalizes the need and it makes you realize you're justified. But two, it gives you a path forward in terms of not feeling alone.
Welcome to the Divorce Support Podcast, where we uncover how people successfully let go and move on during and after divorce. It's one of the hardest times in life, and yet we'll show you how you can feel significantly better, faster than you'd think. Everything here is backed by more than 40 years of courses and thousands of people who have used the Rebuilders program to let go and move on. And we'll show you how you can too. This season draws on the Amazon bestseller book titled 10-Week Divorce Recovery. We are walking through each chapter one at a time until we complete the book. Before we get into it, take a couple of minutes to find out exactly how you're doing. We have a free, personalized quiz that measures how you are doing. It's called the Divorce Recovery Scorecard. You can take it at rebuilders.net/DRS. You'll hear references to people's scores come up throughout the book. So get yours and keep them close as you listen. And if this show helps you, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to this podcast. Now let's get started. Chapter 5, Community. Community alone won't save you. John found a church-based support group near his house. His therapist had suggested it. Local group. People going through the same thing. Sounded good. When John's wife blindsided him with divorce, he was at the lowest point of his life. He felt completely alone. His therapist told him to find a group. You need community, she said. You can't do this alone. So he found one. Showed up on a Tuesday night. Sat in a circle with other people whose marriages had ended. They had a curriculum, structure, they were following a program. But then they started watching YouTube videos, a comedian, talking about family things. John sat there thinking, this is what I drove here for? It wasn't that the video was bad. It was funny, actually. Made some good points. But John didn't need entertainment. He needed help. He needed someone to tell him what to do with the rage that woke him up at 2 a.m. He needed someone to show him how to stop replaying the same conversation in his head over and over. He needed a path forward. Watching videos about what to do wasn't the same as learning how to actually do it. He never went back. Let me tell you about Brad. Brad's marriage ended after his wife had an affair. He was blindsided, devastated. He did what a lot of people do. He leaned on his friends and family. Hard. I was reaching out to people left and right, he said. I was bleeding out my eyeballs, man. And people that cared about me, they just didn't know. I wore those relationships pretty thin, to be honest. He called them constantly, texted at all hours, showed up at their houses needing to talk, crying, overwhelmed. His friends loved him. They wanted to help. They listened. They tried to say the right things, but they didn't know what to tell him. They cared. But caring isn't the same as knowing how to help. And after a while, Brad could feel it. The way they'd hesitate before answering his calls. The way the conversations got shorter. They were tapped out. Not because they didn't care, because they didn't have what he actually needed. I did something similar, but different. I started dating. Not because I was ready, because I was lonely. Because being alone with my thoughts was unbearable. The woman I met was wonderful. She understood what I was going through because she was going through it too. For 10 months, we helped each other survive. But surviving isn't healing. I was still carrying everything I'd been carrying before. I just found someone to help me carry it. We talked about our divorces constantly, tried to make sense of what happened, supported each other through the hard days, but no amount of talking it through was enough. Eventually, I had to face the fact that I wasn't ready. I needed to do the work I'd been avoiding. I needed to figure out who I was outside of being someone's partner. That meant ending a relationship with someone I cared about. Because staying meant staying stuck. Here's what people don't realize when they're looking for community. Not all groups are the same. Some groups exist to help you feel less alone. You show up, you share your story, people listen, you feel seen. There's value in that, genuine value. But feeling less alone isn't the same as getting better. Other groups have structure, a curriculum, weekly topics, videos, discussion questions. That's better. But it's still not enough if the group can't show you how to actually do the work. John's group had a curriculum. They followed a program, week by week, topic by topic. But it was run by volunteers, people with good hearts who wanted to help. They'd never been trained in how to guide someone through emotional breakdown. They didn't know how to teach someone to process grief or release anger. They knew you need to grieve. They just didn't know how to show you how to actually do it. So they played videos. They asked discussion questions. They told you what you should do, but they couldn't teach you how. There's a difference between knowing what to do and knowing how to do it. One graduate put it perfectly. They teach you what to do. A recovery program teaches you how to do it. Most programs will tell you to grieve. Great advice. Accurate. True. Now what? Do you journal? Do you cry? Do you talk to someone? For how long? How do you know when you're done? Nobody tells you, so you try. You think about it. You feel sad. You assume that's grieving. But unstructured sadness isn't the same as processed grief. Real grief work has a method, steps, a way to move the feeling through you instead of just sitting in it. Same with anger, same with letting go, same with rebuilding your identity. Telling someone you need to grieve without teaching them how is like handing someone a toolbox and saying, build a house. The tools are there, they just don't know what to do with them. John tried again, found a different group. This one had structure, a proven curriculum. But more than that, it had trained facilitators, people who knew how to guide you through the actual work, not just tell you about it. There was homework, specific exercises. Not just think about this, but do this specific thing and bring it back next week. And it was a group of people all doing the same work at the same time. When John started, his overall score was 15 out of 100. 13 weeks later, 90. Brad found the same kind of group. When he started, his self-worth score was in the low 20s. His ability to trust was even lower. 10 weeks later, everything had changed. The self-worth thing, man, that just skyrocketed for me, he said. I mean, my ability to trust went way up. And I think one of the biggest things was I felt like I could breathe again. It was so much relief. Relief. That's what he'd been looking for when he called his friends at midnight, when he showed up at their houses needing to talk. His friends couldn't give it to him, not because they didn't care, because they didn't have the tools. 10 weeks in a structured recovery group with trained facilitators did what months of leaning on friends and family couldn't do. It gave him a path forward, clear steps, proven tools, and someone who knew how to guide him through using them. Here's what happens in that kind of group that doesn't happen in other groups. You see proof. Ryan watched someone 2 weeks ahead of him process their grief. They came in 1 week barely holding it together. The next week they were lighter, freer. He didn't have to believe it would work for him. He just saw it work for someone else. Anne had been divorced 4 years when she started. 4 years of trying to figure it out on her own. Her first overall score, 4 out of 100. In the group, she watched people hit the grief and anger weeks. She saw them struggle. Then she saw them shift. When her turn came, she did it too. 10 weeks later, her score was 93. When you're in a group doing the same work, you also get accountability. When you're trying to heal on your own, it's easy to avoid the hard stuff. You tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow, or next week, or when you feel ready. But you never feel ready, so you never do it. In a recovery group, there's homework every week, specific exercises, clear tasks. And next week, someone's going to ask how it went. Not in a judgmental way, in a we're all in this together way. But that accountability matters. You process your grief because you know someone else just processed theirs. You do the anger work because you watched someone else survive it last week. You show up and do the thing that would have been too hard alone. So here's what makes the difference. Not just community, not just a curriculum, not just structure. You need all of that plus. Trained facilitators who know how to guide you through the work, not just tell you about it. Proven methods that show you how to actually process grief, release anger, rebuild your identity, not just that you should. Homework that makes you do the work between sessions, not just think about it. And a group doing the same work at the same time so you see proof it works and you're not alone when it gets hard. That's why John went from 15 to 90. That's why Anne went from 4 to 93 after 4 years of trying on her own. That's why Ryan went from 22 to 94. His grief score went from 13 to 98. His anger score went from 10 to 93. That's why Brad went from wearing his relationships thin to finally being able to breathe again. Most people don't know this kind of recovery group exists. So they keep trying the things that sort of help but don't actually heal. They lean on friends until the friendships wear thin. They join groups that give them community but not tools. They date too soon and carry all their pain into a new relationship. They stay busy, they avoid, they cope, and they stay stuck. Because here's the hard truth. You can't just move on. You can't outrun this. You can't distract yourself out of it. You can't date your way past it. You have to actually deal with what's broken inside you. And most people don't know how.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope today's chapter meant something to you, and we look forward to bringing you the next one. If any of it hit close to home, here's your next step. Every week we run Phoenix Live. It's free to visit. It's online, so it's easy to try out, and it's real people at every stage of divorce recovery doing the work. Learn more at rebuilders.net. And when you're ready to walk through the process with help, it comes in 3 ways. Online from anywhere, in person with a local group, or as a week-long immersion retreat. Same program, 3 doors. But start with Phoenix Live. Come sit with us. I'd love to meet you. One last thing before you go. If someone you love is going through this too, send them this episode. It might be exactly what they need to hear right now. And again, thank you for being here. See you in the next episode.